Um, Takeoff and landing by us. Um, we'll each read one. Um, uh, what is our plan for escaping Earth's gravity? It would take us 25,000 miles per hour to break Earth's atmosphere.
What is our plan for escaping Mars gravity? We would have to go 24,600 miles per hour to break Mars atmosphere.
And read that last one, Cameron.
11 kilometers, 7 miles per second, over 4,000 kilometers per hour, miles per hour are challenges we will overcome.
Um, we'll just read half. You wanna go?
Yeah. We would need to have 55,000 pounds, 25 metric tons of oxygen to get to Mars. A single human takes 11,000 liters of oxygen per day. That means for one person to survive in Mars for 1 month would need 330,000 pounds of oxygen.
So for 3 humans to go to Mars and stay for a month, we would need 999,000 pounds of oxygen. So for the whole trip, we would need one, well, 1,000,000, 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000, 1,100,000 pounds of oxygen.
Before the starship lands, it comes in at a 45-degree angle to slow down to conserve fuel. The rocket booster is engaged and the rocket lands upright.
A different starship will take off separately and rendezvous with the main ship, inserting a CO2 and H2O mixture as fuel.
Okay, hi, we are Team 2, and we are working on how we will get safely to Mars.
Yes.
Okay, to begin, we're going to talk about how we will travel to Mars.
Some challenges that we will overcome are radiation, low atmospheric pressure, food, and fuel. Food. Food is very essential for this trip, and a trip to Mars would usually take 7 months. And once we get there, we need to worry about getting back. And we are assuming we are sending 5 people, so we need in total 140 months of food. What kind of food are we bringing? We will be bringing freeze-dried food so it can stay fresh for a long time. Where will we store the food? We're just assuming that the ship we're taking is big enough to store all the food, uh, all of our food, water, and other supplies. How we prepare the food? First, we will put the water into the dried food. And then heat it up. Then once it's done, it'll be ready to eat. Preferably potatoes and bean and kale.
How much fuel we will need? We will need about 236.8774 gallons of fuel to get and leave Mars. To get to and leave Mars.
We are going to need a very safe spaceship so this trip goes successfully. So we are assuming we have a very, very, very
It's supposed to say safe spaceship.
safe spaceship. One major problem is the door, because if it opens in the middle of a trip, we are dead. A solution so that
This does not happen.
does not happen is
Locking the door.
locking the door with a key and put the key somewhere so when we get to Mars we can get out. But if somehow someone gets out, it's not over yet. They can still be rescued. However, we would only have 2 minutes to save the person. So the person who somehow got outside would have to breathe as much as possible.
No. They would have to breathe out as much as possible.
This doesn't say that.
Still.
All right. We're done.
That's
The date first.
Mission to Mars. Project timeline.
How
How will we land on and explore Mars safely? Findings. What is our planet or plan for landing on Mars exploring the surface?
We will launch SpaceX from Earth and start our journey to Mars.
What are the challenges we have to overcome?
Our first challenge will be lifting from Earth. We will need enough fuel to not only launch but also continue our course to Mars. Once we make it to Mars, we need to figure out how to make a water source and plant crops on Mars.
Landing information. Thermal resistant heat shield. We're going to need a thermal resistant heat shield because we're going 13,000 miles per hour, which would cause the ship to set fire. But with a heat shield, it would dissipate through friction.
A super strong supersonic parachute to slow down the landing.
We need a supersonic parachute to slow down the landing because, as I said, we're going 13,000 miles per hour or more increasingly because we have a spaceship which is way heavier than a rover. So we're going to need a very strong supersonic parachute. We need cameras to see where we're going to land so we know where we're landing and the surface where we're landing. And we're going to need boosters when we get closer to the ground to slow down the fall even more so we land safely and that we don't damage anything.
The terrain. Mars' vast terrain is made out of rock, sand, mountains, volcanoes, and soil. This big red planet is mostly made out of rough rocks, mostly basalt, conglomerate, shale, and sandstone. The surface of Mars is extremely cold, reaching temperatures of negative 81 degrees Fahrenheit, and can reach up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit.
Average distance of 140 million miles. Mars is one of the Earth's closest I don't even know.
Habitable
Neighbors.
Mars is about half as far from the sun as Earth is, so it still has a decent sunlight. It is a little cold, but we can warm it up.
Its an atmosphere is primarily CO2 with some nitrogen and argon and a few other trace elements, which means we can grow plants on Mars just by compressing the atmosphere. Gravity on Mars is which means atmosphere. Gravity on Mars is about 38% of that's of Earth. So you would be able to lift heavy objects and bounce around.
Furthermore, the day is remarkably close to the day of Earth.
To keep humans alive on Mars, the first step is to figure out how to keep humans away from the radiation. To do this, we have the humans enclosed and safe from all the poisonous things outside. We will make capsules that are covered in frozen SO2 and mud so it makes it harder for the radiation to get inside. Treatment of the ARS is generally supportive care. This may include blood transfusions, antibiotics, colony stimulating factors, or stem cell transplant.
Uh, the next step is to figure out how to grow food on Mars. We can do the same thing like the capsule, but make it like a greenhouse so we can grow plants and fish for what we can use the ice at the top and bottom of Mars.
To explore Mars, we can make spacesuits that attach to the capsules so none of the toxic space dust can get inside the capsules. We can also have rovers that have cameras attached so that we can explore further on Mars.
These are pictures of the capsules and the soil and the greenhouse. The radiation Mars. The Martian surface is constantly exposed to hydros of cosmic radiation consisting of highly energetic particles and multiple types of ionizing radiation.
Mm, These these website this website talks about Elon Musk's plan about how to get and how to survive on Mars.